Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be in the company of former striker Chris Iwelumo. Chris, good to see you. I believe, Chris, we were circa 2015, 2016, about a row apart from each other at a graduation ceremony at Staff's Uni. I was doing law, you were doing journalism, I believe, and you were about a row away from me. I was a bit too nervous to come say hi at the time, but I mustered up the energy now. Good to see you in action. You're not striking this time, but you'll be striking with the gloves. How are you feeling ahead of your fight with Lee Trundle, I believe, is it?
Yes. No, it's like you say. I think when I got the call from Saki, it was a no-brainer. You know, you want to give a little bit back. You know, I think it's for a fantastic cause to try and raise as much money as we possibly can for charity. Of course, two charities, important charities as well. So for me, it's getting out your comfort zone. You know, I think I sit on the board at the Stoke City Foundation, and it's like, I think that's part and parcel for me. You know, that charity, it's about, can you create positive influence, and I think that's what it's all about for me. Yeah, I think that the training side of it, you know, if you're being a little bit selfish, it's about getting yourself back into that kind of shape, that routine, you know, asking yourself those questions, challenging yourself, giving yourself a little bit of purpose as well, something to kind of aim for and train for. But then off the back of it, you know, bringing awareness to those charities, making a lot of money, I think it's a no-brainer.
So you're nodding your head when a lot of the former footballers are saying there's a lot of what ifs and what's next after the football career. How much is a career after football actually a thing whilst you're actually in the midst of your career?
Well, you don't think about it. You honestly, genuinely feel that you're going to play forever. You know, I think there's more awareness, there's more organisations out there trying to get the players to think about, right, are you ready for this? Are you prepared for that? You know, when I ended my career, you know, there was some difficult times. I threw myself back into the university, done my journalism degree, and I'm very fortunate now I do the punditry, Talk Sport, Sky Sports, BBC, and on. So very, very busy, which, you know what I mean, again, fortunate I have that, I guess, that routine. You know, I do coaching as well, so you just try and kind of fill that void, you know, because nothing will ever replace being a professional footballer. And then little things like this just give you that excitement, you know, that kind of intense, that kind of thrill, but also the nervousness that you have to then kind of put the work in to get out the end result. And yeah, we all want to win, of course, you know, we're all competitive, you know, but it's a fantastic group and it's all about stepping forward, and like you say, it's all for a great cause.
Seems to be a lot of appreciation from footballers for fighters, and you see a lot of former and current footballers turning up to ringside for some of the biggest fights. Was boxing something you'd followed throughout your career, and now is it something that you'd watched avidly? Would you call yourself a boxing fan?
Yeah, I love watching the boxing. You know, I think since I've had a couple of fights, you know, it gives you that little bit more of what they put themselves through. You know, I think it's just sacrifice, isn't it? You know, the training that they put themselves through, what they go on, and then having that mindset, that drive as well to do it continuously as well, and then have success and then bounce back from the lows as well. You know, I think it's all about that mindset, that professional elite mindset as well, and that's something that it can be quite addictive. So of course, yeah, I'm a massive boxing fan. I do love my boxing, but I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Any favourites?
Oof, now you're asking. You know, I did enjoy the Eubank Benn fight. You know, I thought that was outstanding. For me, you're looking back at Lennox Lewis as well. You know, little back in the day, and I think you know, Tyson Fury. You can't help but like. But yeah, you look at Usyk. You know, you just have a lot of admiration for them all.
Lee Trundle's not quite Usyk or Tyson Fury or Eubank or Ben, but he has been in great shape, and he was a little bit unfortunate not to get the victory the first time around. There's a lot more tape on him than there probably is of yourself. Does that give you an advantage over him?
Yeah, well, I think it's just one of them. I think what's the boxing quote, Mike Tyson, that you all have a plan until you get punched in the face. I think with Lee Trundle, I think he's done some training, he's got that dedication, he's in fantastic shape. He's had those two recent fights as well. You know, I think he learned from the Anthony Gardner fight as well. He's went in gung-ho as well. So I think you have to kind of take on board what your trainer, try and pace yourself, have that game plan, and then just try and put it into action. You know, it's going to be interesting. You know, it's one of those, it's all for a great cause, but of course we all want to win.
Where are you based in your camp? Have you reached out to any current trainers or pros to set up camp with?
Yeah, well, I think we'll have a couple of sessions with David Price. Scott Lawton will be my trainer. That's who's trained me for the last two fights that I've had. So I'll just try and get into him. But like you say, work, life, everything kind of gets in the way of that. So you just got to make sure that you make that time to that you give it everything that you can do.
It's hard pivot. I am a Watford fan myself. You're a former Watford striker. I remember being at the Derby game where you were one of the few to come up. We got trounced 5-1. You were one of the few that came up to apologise to the fans, and I thought that showed real character. Right now, Watford, we're kind of around the playoffs, struggling a little bit, brought in a new manager. Yeah. What do you think about the current circumstances or surroundings around Watford? Are they ones to help the club succeed and get promoted?
Yeah, well, I think they're getting criticised, and I think it's going to be a difficult time. I think they can't keep chopping and changing managers. You want a little bit of stability there. I scored the first Watford goal under the Pozzo era. You know what I mean? So when you actually look at it, you think how many managers have come and gone. Javi Grazia, when he's walking out the club at that time, you understand it, that he wants to bring in his own players, and I think a manager should have a big say in the players that he wants to bring in, because they're not a million miles away from actually going and really getting themselves in that where they want to be. Now the playoffs, and I think they've kind of dropped off a little bit. You obviously Stills come in now. You'll have obviously Charlie Daniels, Maps, all the players that I know from my time there as well. I think that's important. But I think he has to have some say in the players that he wants to bring in. I'm not sure. It's basically, here, coach these players. This is the philosophy. This is what we're going to do. I think the manager has to have a little bit more power at all clubs, and stability is massive. So, yeah, it's a difficult time. I look fondly at all my old clubs, and I want them to have success. And hopefully, this decision, they'll get it right.
Manuel Almunia cited you as someone that was great to have in the dressing room. You laugh, you joke, you argue if you need to. It seems like right now, since Troy Deeney left, that there isn't that person in there to do that. You got Luzu, who's captain, Sissoko's captain as well too. But do you see that character in the squad, someone that's going to foster a promotion push?
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. I think you do need leaders. I think Troy Deeney, I don't think you're gonna get a character like that, and he does it very well as well. He commands. He's a powerful figure. He's quite dominating, but he comes in, he can mix from one group to the other, and I think he was an excellent captain, but he would drag players up as well, and I think that's something that's probably a little bit lacking now. There's quality there, but they have to have that fight and determination as well, and hopefully when they're at it, they can beat anyone on their day, but they have to consistently get to those levels, and that's something that's lacking.
Like the strikers, Dumbia, Kieran-Gard, Semedo, do you see a bright future for them?
Yeah, well, there's goals there. I think being part of the Strikers Union, I think it's all about service. I think fantastic quality. When they get the service and the right service, they're going to get goals, but they need to be more clinical. I think opportunities missed as well, but that's in the Championship. That's across the board. All the teams have that same feeling, I would guess. But no, I'm very happy with the strikers there.
If you were a striker now, given the way Watford is, would you sign for the club? Would you see it as still an attractive prospect?
Look, it's still a fantastic club. You look at the fan base, you look at the training ground, you look at the facilities. The stadium. I was just down there doing the Watford Bristol City game for Sky. It's fantastic. Still the same people there as well. It was excellent. So no, it's 100%. It just needs to be. I think that direction needs to be sorted out, and everyone needs to buy into it. Fans, players, staff, everyone united together.
Back to yourself. Is this a one and done for you? Do you think you'll get the flavour for it?
What's that? Sorry.
Is this a one and done for you, the boxing, or do you think you'll get the flavour for it?
Well, this will be my third fight, so I think it's just one of them. It's anything I can do for charity to give a little back. I think that's the main purpose. I think selfishly it's about getting yourself back in some sort of decent shape and take it from there. I don't know if my knees will hold up, but that's hopefully we don't have 40 stairs to walk down the same as the last venue, but we'll take it from there.
Obviously, you got Lee Trundle in front of you, but I don't know if you saw Curtis Davis. He looked a real handful. What do you think about you and Curtis Davis?
Curtis Davis, another good friend of mine. I don't know. I think that's. I think he went in there and handled himself very, very well. So no, like you say, you just got to think about the next 10 weeks and then fight night itself, and then we can have that discussion after that.
Chris, all the best. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. Good man. Cheers, mate.